Hey, what's going on, everybody? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, Steve Brown. Mocha Man on a mission. I'm out in these streets, baby, so I'm the Mocha Man in action. Hope everybody's doing awesome. Listen, you guys, today's episode, I want to share the story of Mr. Sam Crowley. Now, Sam Crowley was a Fortune 100 executive, all right? And, top of the totem pole, living a life, but you know what? He was a slave to his job, okay? And he made the decision to actually quit his job because he needed to be there with his daughter. And he promised his daughter that one day, every day would be Saturday. And, it's a great story. He went bankrupt. Look, he went through it, all right? So I'm not going to give it all away. I want you to hear from the man himself. Bottom line, he came into Empower Network, shared his story, and made, $200,000 in 8 months. See income disclaimer, of course. Results are not typical, but this is what's possible here inside our system, all right? So, guys, that's it. I'm going to be talking with you, but I want you to check out Sam Crowley and his story. It's inspiring. I want you to be inspired, and I will be talking with you guys soon. Love and light. God bless. I'm out. Peace.
So without any further delay, I want to introduce you, my Empower Network family, to the one and only Mr. Sam Crowley. Sam, are you there?
Hey, I'm here, Tracy. How you doing?
Awesome. I can hear you loud and clear, and I'm going to turn over the call to you, Sam, to share whatever comes to mind, whatever comes to heart, anything that you believe is useful for us this Empower Hour.
You're awesome. I really want to say we probably had everybody on the line until you brought up the New Kids on the Block concert, and we probably lost half of them, unfortunately. Don't hold that against me. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, when you're done, I'll be here. You can turn it back over to me, and we'll make sure we get everyone squared away for the evening. So I'm listening intently, and I've got my notepad ready, Sam.
Hey, Tracy, thanks so much. Welcome, everybody. My name's Sam Crowley. Those of you that don't know me, like Tracy mentioned, I joined Empower Network back in November of 2012, just a little over 8 months ago. It's been a wild journey, I'll tell you. The email went out talking about this call tonight, and it's pretty funny. I'm probably the last person, and I'll talk about this on the call tonight, but I'm probably the last individual that somebody would have thought would have come on board Empower Network. I'm one of those people who had to let the ego go. Ego stands for edging guidance out, and so I had to let that go because I was letting my ego get in the way of my bank account. As Tracy mentioned, I'm a speaker, trainer, seminar leader, and it wasn't always every day being Saturday, and I'll talk about the journey. It's all about the journey. It's about the process, and it's about the individual that we get to become along the way. It's not about going to a job every day and punching a clock and getting to ask somebody if you can get a couple of days off on the weekend. That's not what it's about, unless you enjoy that. And, I don't want to just completely discard individuals that go to a job every day, because where I live in the United States of America, 20% of the people really do enjoy what they do for a living. They get up every day. They feel as though they're a part of something bigger than themselves. They really enjoy it. But unfortunately, that leaves a big void for 80% of the people here in America that go to a job every day. And, I rose up that corporate ladder, and I'll share a little bit of my story with people that don't know it. I'll tell you what, man, I just feel so lucky to be on this call tonight to share this message, because there's somebody right now. It's Monday night in the U.S. It's Tuesday morning in Australia. It's early morning in Europe. And those of you who stayed on the line, you gave up commitments that you had tonight. Tracy mentioned you turn off the TV. That's always a good start. But you gave something up to receive a message tonight, and it's my goal to deliver that message in a big, big way. It's my goal to leave the call this evening with everybody understanding that you can absolutely crush it. I don't care where you've been, and I'm not saying that to be negative, but I'm telling you your best days. I promise you, when I share how far down I was, and it's not a matter of trying to compare who had the worst story. I know Dave Sharp has shared his amazing story, Dave Wood and Tracy herself, and all the great leaders within Empower Network. But you have to understand, you have your very own story. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this evening, please write this down, that you are going to share your story. You know, we have a product within the Empower Network called the 15K Formula, and Module 1 speaks about the power of setting your intention, which Dave Wood did an amazing job with. I've watched that. I've been a student of personal development for my entire life, and I saw Module 1 of that one product that we have, and it was amazing that Dave Wood said exactly what he was speaking to me and everybody else out there, that your story, where you've come so far right now, is what you need to share moving forward. You receive that message. You receive that no matter where you are right now. You need to take your message. You need to take where you've been, and you need to share that. And it's not a matter of how many commas that you have after your paycheck. The money you earn is the reward. It's the value that you bring. It's a scorecard for the value that you bring to somebody else's life. You know, Tracy had mentioned, being a Fortune 100 executive. That sounds pretty sexy. I know that certainly was what I always thought. Growing up in a small town of 8,000 people in northwestern Pennsylvania, my mom raised 8 of us by herself. My dad left when I was 3 months old. I wouldn't know the guy. Well, actually, I say that. I'm so used to saying I wouldn't know the guy. Funny story. My mom, she raised us all by herself, and she passed away in 1997, and I had never had this urge to reach out and meet my dad. I knew he was alive somewhere, and I just never had that real urge to get out and meet the guy because he left my mom to raise 8 kids, and I had never really, no memory of the guy at all. And I'm just sharing this part. There's a lot of tonight's message I'm going to share with you that's coming just from the heart. I'm not a guy that puts notes in front of me. I'm not someone that likes to follow an outline. I don't think life is about following a bulleted outline. I think life is about experiencing every single minute that you can and about squeezing that last bit of toothpaste out of the tube of life. I believe life is about sharing those experiences with other people. And so when I go off the reservation and you say, hey, wait, wasn't this guy just talking about being in a job and now he's talking about his dad? Yeah. But if you give me just a little bit of space, I promise I'll wrap a big bow around this message by the end of the night, and I'll hopefully inspire you to keep going, to keep dreaming, to keep doing, and to keep empowering everybody that you meet, everybody, and never to judge anybody. Because if somebody judged me last year, I'm the last person. I began this call to say I'm the last person you would have ever thought would have came on board the Empower Network. I'm going to speak as to why that is, but don't prejudge people. Because you're one connection away from exploding your business. Write that down. I am one connection away from exploding my business. And those of you that are guests on the line tonight as well, and maybe you're not involved with Empower Network, just receive this message. If you want to come and get started with the individual that invited you to the call, do that. Because there's so many great individuals that you haven't even scratched the surface of the great people that are involved. And look, I'll tell you what, I've met so many amazing people at the live events, and I've been going to events my entire life. I've never seen the first class of individuals that I've met with Empower Network. And being on the stage for the better part of the past 8 years and really getting an opportunity to be in the audience now and view the speakers, I'm humbled that I have the opportunity to be in the presence of really great individuals. So get started. If you're on the call as a guest tonight, just get started and feel what I feel and what I've been feeling over the past 8 months. It really is something really, really incredible. So I actually met my dad for the first time last year. And I reached out to him, and I said, hey, Dad, it's Sam. And I've never said that in my life. I got his email address I'm the youngest of 8 kids, and I got his email address from one of my older siblings, and I found he was living in Annapolis, Maryland. And I just thought I'd reach out to the guy because, another thing life's about, it's about letting go, and it's about forgiveness. And there's somebody on the line tonight that's receiving this message about forgiving. Because when you forgive and you let go, that person that has the power over you has that power over you no more. You understand that, right? I mean, in order for you to move forward, you need to forgive and wipe the slate clean. You understand that, right? I mean, that's a basic personal development principle that let it go. Just let it go. Resentment's the equivalent of drinking poison waiting for the other person to die. Just let it go. I did. I met my dad last year for the very first time, and my whole life since I left the job has been about experiencing something for the very first time. It's about trying to get out there, as I mentioned, squeezing that last bit of toothpaste out of the tube of life. And it's about just doing things I would have never been able to do had I been stuck in that nasty cubicle. And when I left, it was the corner office with the nice furniture and the plant. I got the plant that they actually watered every day. I didn't get the rubber fake plant that everybody else got. I got the real one. You know why? because I was running a $90 million or so division within this Fortune 100 company, and it's pretty good. I mean, I'm an ex-stutter, college dropout, about 20 college credits to my name. Most of those are gym and health class, and I never really took anything too serious in life. So when I got the job back in 1990, November of 1990, I thought I'd hit the lotto. You know, I got a nice place I can go to, and I started in a cubicle making $10,000 a year base salary, and here I was in 2005 making over $100,000 base salary. But as Tracy mentioned, it's some point you got to make a decision. You know, I'm going to share the story about why I quit that job, because some people can't quit a $15,000 a year job, $30,000 a year job. They think that's it. They think that's all they can do. I'm here to tell you right now, you got a $15,000 month in your future. You got a $30,000 month in your future. You know, and again, it's just a comma. It's just a decimal point. Don't give it so much reverence to say that I can't earn $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. That's silly. I was sharing a story with friends of ours on Facebook over the weekend, and I said, you know, I think I had my biggest breakthrough in 2002. I went to a real estate boot camp, and it was about $2,000 to attend this event. I've been a student my entire life. I find a mentor, and I want to be in the space. I want to be close to the source of momentum. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know, someone has got that close, they got that momentum going. You want to be closer to that individual. So I went to a real estate boot camp, and I said, I was making about $50,000 a year base salary, and the guy asked me what I wanted to get out of the weekend. He said, can you see yourself doing this? Because it was talking about buying and selling real estate, no money down, cash flow, flips, all this stuff. I go, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I said, I'm only making $50,000 a year. And he goes, okay, well, what's that got anything to do with how successful you are? He goes, you see that guy over there? And this was the instructor, the guy that was training us for the weekend, and he pointed to his assistant trainer. He said, you see that guy over there? I said, yeah. He goes, that guy made $600,000 last year doing real estate. Same thing I'm teaching you to do. Do you think that guy is 12 times smarter than you are? I said, heck no, he's not 12 times smarter than me. I know he's not. I was just talking to him out in the lobby, no offense, but there's no way. He might be twice as smart, but he ain't 12 times as smart. I said, exactly. He said, you got to get over this, whatever this barrier is, thinking that you're not worthy to earn $600,000 a year or even $100,000 a year. And, you know, it was right then and there, the switch flipped in my life. It flipped right there. I remember it was the beginning of June 2002. I could tell you how the air smelled. I could tell you the car I was driving. I could just tell you everything about that day. And I didn't sleep that night. I came home, and I read one of my first ever personal development books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I read Think and Grow Rich. I'd never heard of those books. I've been a student of personal development my whole life, but let me tell you, I had a lot to learn in the early part of this millennium. See, you guys think back, that's only 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I started this journey. I've always been learning. I've always been searching, but I've always been on this journey, and I found Empowered Network with the same type of philosophy of being on this journey, being a seeker, never wanting to just stay put, never accepting just what people tell me to do. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but that was a major breakthrough for me. It was a major breakthrough, understanding that, you know, people that are earning $100,000 a month are 100 times smarter than me. That's impossible. So, circling back, I want to just finish the story about my dad because I think it's important. I think some of you on the line right now need to hear this message of forgiveness. And I met my dad in Annapolis, Maryland, May of last year, 2012, for the very first time. I drove up to his condo unit. I got out of the car. He walked out. He's 83 years old. I'm 45. I appreciate Tracy referring to me as a young man. I'm 45 years old. And I said, hey, Dad. And he said, hey, Sam, how you doing? And it wasn't any off. I mean, I hadn't seen the guy ever. I saw him when I was a little kid, maybe 3 or 4 years old. I have no memory of it. And he was a little nervous. He was a little choked up. And I seeing your son for the very first time, and I hugged him. And we went to, he got in the car, and we went to the grocery store to get some prescription drugs or something that he had to get for some ailment that he had. You know, at 83 years old, everybody's got something, right? And we went to a park bench. And we were sitting on that park bench, and I just turned to him. I said, hey, Dad, I just need you to know one thing. And he said, well, what's that? I said, I forgive you. And that's all I said. I forgive you. He said, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And nothing else needed to be said. We talked for a little bit more on the park bench. It was a beautiful day, about 82 degrees. Sun was out. Those are the moments I look for in life. I look for moments like that because I never had moments like that when I had a job. And when you're involved in a business and when you're your own boss, you're the captain of your own ship, you get the opportunity as an entrepreneur to go be a seeker, to go be a learner. When you're in a job, and look, I got to always preface my comments by saying people that have jobs are not bad people. I just think at some point in time you got to go for your dream. You got to take the seatbelt off, and you got to say, I'm going for it. I believe in myself. I trust myself. I'm going to make it happen. You know, I'm not gonna ride with the training wheels any longer. All right, I'm going to do this. I know I can do this. And so it was a cold November evening in 2004, November 2004. And I'd just been promoted, my third promotion in 4 years with this Fortune 100 company. And I was driving home. I told my wife I'd be home at 5:30. And that never happened. You know, those of you that have had a job, you know, your spouse or your loved one, whoever, you're supposed to meet somebody. It was a Monday. And I said, yeah, honey, I'll be home at 5:30. I said, okay, I'll have chicken fajitas we were eating that evening for dinner. And I'm framing this for a reason, all right? Because when you make monumental decisions in your life, you know what's playing on the radio. You know what you had for dinner. You know what was on television that night. You know what was big major in the news. I mean, when you make monumental decisions, you know exactly where you were in life. And this was the biggest decision I had ever made in my entire life. Some of you are going to make a decision tonight. Some of you are going to make a decision tonight. Those of you that are been invited to this call, you're going to make a huge decision tonight, you know, joining Empower Network like I did. Some of you are going to make a decision within Empower Network to say, hey, I'm taking it seriously now. I believe in myself enough. I got permission now to play big. I'm giving everybody on the line permission to play. Say, I am giving myself permission to play big. Would you just say it? I mean, I don't care if anybody's sitting in the room. Somebody's watching TV. Just say, hey, yo, I'm giving myself permission to play big. Sam Crowley says it's okay tonight, all right? You cool with that? Cool. Rock on. I got to get back to this call. Do it. Just do it. That night I got home, and instead of getting home at 5:30, I got home at 7:30. And my daughter Madeline was 3.5 years old at the time. Our daughter Laura was just born. She was 3 months old. Hadn't had our daughter Peachy yet. We got 3 girls under the age of 12. That's my penance for who I was earlier in life. That's a story for another day. But I asked my wife, Angela, I said, is Madeline still up? She said, yeah. She's upstairs. I just put her down. But you might be able to catch her. So I walked up the stairs and dragged my lifeless body up the stairs. And I was aimless, man. I was just going through life, making 100, 120 grand, whatever it was, stock options company car. Hated every minute of my life. Just hated it. Was out the door at 4:30, 5 in the morning. Turned the lights on in the building, turned them off when I left. That was it, man. It was just, I was just a zombie. It's like Bill Murray in the movie Groundhog Day, if you've seen that. Every day was the same. I mean, every day. Every day. I was aging like a president, right? But I got home that night, and my daughter Madeline sat up in bed, and I asked her how her day was in preschool, and she, what kind of conversation can you have at 8 o'clock at night in pitch black dark on a cold November evening with a 3.5-year-old? Right? I mean, come on, be serious. What a loser I was at that point in time, trying to be a dad like that. So she said, Daddy, is tomorrow Saturday? And I said, no, Madeline, it's actually Monday. But you ask me that all the time. Why are you asking me all the time if tomorrow's Saturday? And she said, because it's the only day we get a chance to see each other. I like Saturdays. All right. It was like a Mike Tyson punch to the stomach. I mean, I can't even describe how emotional I got. I didn't have an answer. I had no answer. I just put my head down. I mean, I went from the boardroom to a 3.5-year-old bedroom. I mean, I had the answers. The one thing I always had, I had the right answers. Did not have an answer for that kid. But I did say this much. I put my head back up. I said, Madeline, tomorrow isn't Saturday, but I promise you someday soon, every day will be Saturday. And I walked out. And I didn't know what I was going to do. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to a job anymore. Because having never had a dad, and this is why I told you the story about not having a dad, I was turning into that same absentee father. But yet I had the money. See, money doesn't do anything. See, it's money's going to expose more of who you are. If you're a jerk, I got bad news for you. You get money, you're just going to be a rich jerk. If you're a philanthropic, caring individual, and you're blessed with the money that you receive for the value that you bring, there's got to be value that you bring. Okay, we're not talking about lotto winners. We're talking about people that bring value. You, in turn, right, you will have that opportunity to live the life, to make every day Saturday, and that's what I did. Here's the problem, though, with I quit my job. I bought a franchise. I get a kick out of people that come on board Empower Network, and there's different products and things like that. And people always ask me, Sam, what should I do? I said, you just got to go all in. I mean, you just got to make it happen. You know, I mean, I'm not listening to the I can't do this, can't do that, because I know. And once you hear this whole story tonight, you're going to know why I come from such an angle of conviction, right? Why I don't let people argue for their limitations, because you can argue for all your limitations, and I promise you they will be yours, right? You can argue for them, or you can just say, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to find my mentor. I'm going to follow that mentor. Whoever, you got to get a mentor. Hopefully your mentor invited you to the call tonight. Hopefully if you're on this call tonight within Empower Network, you have a mentor. You need that individual that momentum source that you can get close to. So I quit my job. May 6, 2005, my boss was on the line, the senior VP of the company, giving me what we call in the corporate world the gift of feedback. You know what the gift of feedback is, right? It's basically telling you how to do your job. And so in the middle of his gift of feedback, I said, I quit. He said, what are you talking about? You go, what? And there's a few things you can say that maybe get misinterpreted. When you say I quit, you can't really unring that bell. You're pretty much toast. I said, I quit. And a couple things happened when I said that. A huge weight came off my shoulder, like just a 800-pound gorilla lifted off my shoulder. All this stress, everything was just removed. And then was followed up with, what did I just do? He said, all right, well, you're running the largest division in the company, right? I said, yeah, I know. He goes, you got the best job. I go, well, as far as jobs go, I think best job is an oxymoron, but okay, keep going. Okay, well, just don't let the cat out of the bag. We'll make an announcement, and we'll get you out of there in a week. I was like, wow, we don't let the moss grow too much around this place. You got to get this Crowley guy out of the corner office. Long story short, my last day was the following week, and I went to run my little franchise business. Unfortunately, I didn't know what I was doing. Lost everything I had, went bankrupt, lost $300,000 in a bad business deal, which was a bad one. Went back to my boss. 3 months later, I bought the franchise a few months before, but the reason I'm telling you this is because you're going to invest time and you're going to invest energy in something. You better make darn well sure you know where you're going. Most entrepreneurs are running east looking for a sunset, which is unfortunate. They don't know where they're going. The reason why I love Empower Network so much is because the products they have and the individuals they have don't allow you to do that. It's like having your own compass just pointing you in the right direction if you're willing to take the first step. That's the key, to be willing to follow the compass of success. So 3 months later, I called my boss. I said, hey, are you looking for any more help? He goes, what, do you know anybody? I said, yeah, me. He goes, what are you talking about? You were running the place. I said, yeah. Kind of ran into it. He goes, what happened to this? I'm going to make every day Saturday. I go, yeah, it took a little bit of a detour. But anyway, I went back to work, working for everybody that used to work for me. Let me just say that again. I went from running the show to being low man on the totem pole, back in the cubicle with a base salary of $39,000. But you know what I had? I had so much clarity. I didn't have any money. Didn't have that. Actually, it was broke. And on my lunch hour, I met with a bankruptcy attorney and filed bankruptcy. The most humiliating day of my life. I came home. My wife asked how I was doing. The first time I think she's ever seen me have tears in my eyes. I've never let my kids see me, get upset. And I don't know if that's good or bad. It's just the way it's been. And I couldn't hold it back any longer. I said, I can't believe I just filed bankruptcy. I can't believe it. I mean, I'm a complete loser. She says, you're not a loser. Just, let's get this thing going again. So you know what happened? Everybody stared at me like I was a zoo animal for the next 3 months because they couldn't believe the guy that actually used to run the show. It's like Bill Gates, and I'm not comparing myself to Bill Gates other than just a metaphor. It's like Bill Gates going in and being the guy that stamps out the discs in the assembly line, kind of like that situation. Imagine Bill Gates with a hairnet on stamping out CDs on an assembly line. That's pretty much yours truly, banging the telephone for sales. But I started a movement, and I started to say, you know what? I'm just going to share my story. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to share my story with as many people that will listen. I don't care if it's a rubber chicken dinner with 4 people at 5 o'clock at the local diner. I don't care if it's the library. I don't care where it is. I'm going to share my story because there's power. There is a power in your story. Those of you right now that are afraid to share your story because you may be embarrassed or because you may think it's not good enough or because you don't have that catchy phrase, every day is Saturday or any other catchy thing. Let me tell you something. You don't need the catchy phrase. You don't need the glitter and the gold. You don't need all the fancy-dancy stuff. All you need is the ability to communicate with the language of success. And that, my friend, is the $1 million key that you're holding right in your hand. You have it. You already know. And Power Network is the jet fuel that's going to allow you to just crush it with that message. But you got to get comfortable. You got to quit saying, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't have this. I don't have that. You know, we're only born with 2 fears as a child. We're born with the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. Everything else is learned. Everything else is 100% learned. And all those people you've been hanging around, and you've heard this, I know you've heard this 100 times, but all those people, the negative know-it-alls going nowhere, that are trying to pump that toxic stuff into your mind. Well, what are you doing, that thing? How's your thing doing? My thing's doing good. How's your thing? You know, that's what I say to people. No, what's up? How you doing? What are you worried about me for? Am I exposing you because you didn't go for your dream? You know, how's everything going in your life? I'm doing great, man. And as I was going back, building myself back up, you know, people saying, how's it going, champion? Every day's still Saturday? I go, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I just started sharing my message, and I found the power. And this is one strategy that I would really like to see more and more people do. Getting your message out through blogging, which obviously it's a major plug for Empower Network, the most powerful blogging system on the planet, in my opinion, and I've seen it a lot. I started blogging from a cubicle. The problem was I was blogging about how big of a moron my boss was and how I was trapped in this cubicle hell. And back in 2006, I didn't think anybody really read blogs or, was that kind of dialed in. Well, they let me know, hey, you can't be blogging about how big of a moron your boss is. You really, human resources, calling everybody. I'm like, wow. So this internet stuff works. Like, it gets out. Like, you put some stuff out there, and it just kind of gets out and people read it? Wow. So what if I blog about, like, being a speaker? And what if I, like, start recording my voice and put it out there and people can hear it? And wouldn't you know, in 2007, I launched a business, and I just got my message out there, and all I did was just share this story I shared with you tonight. Some of you maybe listen to this story and say, wow, this guy's a great storyteller, or, wow, that dude's pretty simple. There ain't a lot to that guy, and I'm here to tell you. Those of you that just said the latter, you're right. I'm a pretty simple dude. Tracy Walker talking about going to New Kids on the Block and Boys to Men, that's me, man. I want to go take a trip back to 1988. I don't get the photo album out. I just go to a concert from people that were popular in 1988. Keep it simple, right? But in a serious mode, you got to get your message out there. But the first thing you got to do is you got to be prepared. You just got to prepare for success. Some of you are preparing for failure. You're grasping onto that last $100 like it's never going to come back and see you again. I mean, you got to send that on its way. Invest in yourself, invest in your business, and know it's going to come back tenfold when you're following things that you really love to do, right? But understand one other thing. Before you start preparing, can you just feel, and this is going to sound wild, but I want you to do this. I want you to feel the pain you're in. You're like, what? What do I want to do that for? That's crazy. What's this? Who is this dude? What's going to be? I'm telling you, it's a great exercise because when I felt the pain that I was in that night on a cold November evening, see, I say that story, I've said it 8,000 times from stage, and I say it the same way every time. It was a cold November evening in 2004. I was driving up Interstate 71 from downtown Cincinnati to the suburbs. There was no leaves on the trees. See, it's the power of intention. You got to get visual. You got to feel the pain you're in. Some of you are hiding the pain. Hey, how you doing? I'm okay. That's ego. That's edging guidance out. Okay, that was me. That was me before Empower Network. Hey, Sam, how's your brand online? Good. You want to come on board Empower? Nah, I'm okay. Now I'm the guy breaking down the egos of all these men and women that I share the stages with and that I know in the industry and things like that because I believe that much in the power of this business and this brand with Empower Network and people like Tracy Walker and all these great individuals that you get to have an opportunity. Tracy talked about us meeting at dinner in Atlanta. She's right. That table had energy to it. Like, it was amazing. I mean, a lot of top earners there. Dave Sharp was there, co-founder of Empower Network. It was a really cool place to be. That's the place you want to be. You want to be at the table of success. And the beauty is, you can be there. You want to be at that table in Atlanta? Let's do it. You want to be at one of our live events coming up in October? Just make the decision. You'll be there. We'll leave a seat for you. But the first thing you got to do is understand you got to prepare for that moment.
Don't prepare to go through McDonald's drive-thru, okay? Don't prepare to order from the right side of the menu where the prices are. Prepare to order from the left side of the menu where you really want to order from. Look, quit playing small ball, all right? Understand that I'm not 10 times smarter than you. You already know that. I mean, there ain't nobody on this line right now thinking, that Crowley guy reminds me a lot of Albert Einstein. That ain't happening. I get that part, and I'm cool with that, okay? Like I said, 20 college credits, most of them gym and health class. But you know what I got? I got such incredible passion, man. A lot of people make fun of me and jab me a little bit, especially guys on the team and girls that know me. I get up 4:30 in the morning. Why? Because I can't sleep. Why? Because I'm just fired up. I'm an ex-stutterer. You know that? I couldn't speak until I was a teenager, pretty much hopping up and down on one leg, trying to get words out of my mouth. Now I'm a speaker on stage. Number one closer at most events I speak at. Why? Because I got just something burning inside, man. I just got something burning inside, and so do you. But you got to feel the pain you're in. When you feel the pain you're in, you understand the frame of reference. You don't ever want to go back to that place. You know, the worst people in the world, the ones that can't feel the pain. I'm okay. Everything's okay. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, nothing wrong here, right? Those are the ones you worry about the most. You know, there's a disease called SIPA, C-I-P-A. It's like less than 50 people in the world have this disease. They could put their hand on a burner of a stove and not even know that it's there while their hand is literally burning off of their arm. Is that the person you want to be? Not feeling the pain you're in? Come on. You know, just let it happen. And then prepare to dine at the table of success. Get going. Right? You've heard the old adage, you can't steer a ship that's just sitting in the harbor. You got to get yourself moving. Right? That's the next step. The next step is to do something. Do anything. I mean anything. When I got going online, I just started blogging. And I started podcasting, and it was all free because I didn't have two nickels to rub together, and it was all just free stuff. Whatever I could get my hands on, it was free. I was doing it, blogging, podcasting, writing free articles, uploading them on the Internet 100 times a day, putting them in all these different article directories, doing it all myself. But I took some sort of action because I knew one thing, that if I was just – here's the question you got to ask yourself, and you got to answer it really. Is the pain of moving forward greater or less than the pain of going backwards? Ask yourself that question. Maybe you've made the commitment now to come on board Empower Network, and you're like, oh, boy, ooh, it's so bumpy. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur now. Yeah, you are. That's the good news. The bad news is you're your own boss, too. And there's a lot of accountability that comes with that. But let me tell you, I wouldn't have it any other way, brothers and sisters. I wouldn't have it any other way. But answer the question and answer it truthfully. Is the pain of moving forward greater or less than the pain of going back? Because when I quit my job, I don't care how many bankruptcy attorneys I had to go to, the pain of going back to the J-O-B. I went back temporary. Let me tell you, both hands in the air right now. If you could see me, if I was on video, you'd see I got both hands in the air. I'm the most flawed human being on planet Earth, okay? Sometimes I was that guy running these looking for a sunset. But when I figured out I needed health insurance for my kids and I had to make sure that I kept the lights on, there's nothing wrong with going back to the journey of the broke temporarily. Temporarily. Y'all feeling me now? Temporarily, right? Because pain is temporary. Misery, that's optional. You want to stay miserable, that's optional. That's on you, okay? I quit my job again in 2007. Now, let me first tell you, not under nearly as amicable circumstances as the first time. Never got a Christmas card from the boss ever again. Can you imagine that? But I said that time, I am going for it, man. I am cutting the cord, and I'm going to make it happen. And I am going to make every day Saturday for myself and for millions of people all around the world. And that's when I got so much clearer on where it is I was going. You got to share that message, but you got to take some sort of action. You know, you got, like I mentioned earlier, take the training wheels off, get going. It's okay. I mean, a guy that I've shared the stage with, I'm fortunate to call a friend of mine. You may have heard of Bob Proctor. Bob and I shared the stage at an event last year, and we were talking beforehand, and I thanked him because I used to listen to Bob in my CD player all the time when I was going to work. Never dreamed I would ever meet him. That was the first thing. Never dreamed I'd ever share the stage with him. And I said, I want to thank you, Bob. He says, well, what for, Sam? I said, well, first of all, I've got your cell number, so I really want to thank you for that because I stare at it a lot, you and Les Brown and all these other guys, and he thought that was kind of weird, but I didn't. You know, hey, look, you might as well be who you are, right? Bob thinks I'm a stalker, creepy guy over in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's cool. I'm all right with that. But I said, I want to thank you for one of the best pieces of advice you ever gave me. And he said, what's that? And I said, 3 words, and then what? He goes, oh, the old and then what cure? I said, yeah, that's right. He goes, I know it well. See, Bob, I reached out as a mentor to when I first launched a speaking career. And here's it. Everyone's approachable. Everyone's approachable, but you got to know how to approach the right people. Remember what I said earlier. Those of you that wrote that down, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be very successful. You're one connection away from exploding your life. You think Bob Proctor would be a good connection? If you want to be a speaker, would that be a good connection to have? True or true, right? So I reached out to Bob when I was coming up in the speaker ranks. Wouldn't you know, he got back to me. Really nice guy. And I told him, man, I'm a little bit worried about, going for this and doing that. And he goes, let's take you through a little exercise, Sam. I said, go ahead, Bob. Yeah, go ahead. You go first. And he goes, what are you worried about? I said, well, what if I lose all my money? He said, and then what? I go, well, then I got to go find some health insurance. He said, and then what? I said, well, then, I might have to go dig ditches, Bob. And then what? I go, I don't really like where this is. He said, exactly. Because you're going to run out of excuses, my friend. Eventually, things will be just okay. But you're sitting around worried the down payment on a problem that ain't probably ever going to happen for you there, kid. So why don't you get your ASS out the door and get something going, like right now, yesterday. I said, good advice, Bob. I think I'll do that, my friend. And then I asked you that same question. Keep saying, and then what? Think about that. Worry is a down payment on a problem that probably never happened. But yet so many of us worry. I never met anybody that ever worried a problem into not happening. It's either going to happen or it ain't. The fact that you're sitting around tonight worrying about it ain't going to make a hill of beans difference at all. I never met anybody that changed the outcome. Oh, I worried so much I changed it. Yay! It's not going to happen, right? So understand, taking some sort of action is going to yield what? Well, it's going to yield one of two things, success or the big F word, failure. Well, that's not really failure. We know that, right? It's an experience that you have the opportunity now to never do again if it doesn't work out for you. I learned the first time I quit my job, I went down the wrong road. I ended up in the wrong zip code, right? I was at the right zip code, just the wrong house, put it that way. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, just wasn't at the right address. Second time I left my job, I went after just incredible, like on the Discovery Channel, when you see that lion hiding in the bushes, seeking out that wounded caribou, and he's just like frothing at the mouth. That was my dream, man. I was like, that was the way I went after my dream that second time. There was nothing. There ain't nobody, no place, no how, no where that was going to hold me back. You got to get that. Listen to me. I'm speaking to you right now, listening right now. Whether you're listening live or you're going to listen to this recording 100 times over, you got to understand that. When you get that tenacity inside of you, there ain't nobody, nowhere, no how, nothing that is going to stop you. But you've got to get out of the gate and stop playing small. Quit paddling in the shallow end of the pool. Adversity is going to hit. It always does. Once you take action, you're setting yourself up. Like in my case, to be mocked, ridiculed, made fun of. Oh, every day Saturday now, champion, ex-stutter. That's okay. That's all right. No worries. I'm focused. I'm laser focused. Don't worry. You're not going to knock me off my game. Like the great Jim Rohn said, right? The winds of adversity will blow on everybody's boat. Everybody. But it's how you adjust your sail that makes the difference. And I truly believe that. And what's going to happen last? And this is the last thing for part of this particular training that I wanted to go over. And I hope you guys are receiving this message because there is nothing more. Being an ex-stutter, being someone that was broke, there is nothing that gives me more pleasure than to be able to speak to other people. And to speak to entrepreneurs, forget about it, man. I am in right now, I could go till 4 in the morning Eastern time and not stop. But I think my phone would die. The last thing you have is commitment. You got to stay committed. You've felt the pain you're in. You've prepared for success. One more thing about preparation. Can you please stop stealing your own dream? Can you please be patient as well? When you prepare, you plant the seeds of success. You don't dig them up 5 seconds later. You let them nurture, right? This may be brand new to some of you. I mentor a lot of brand new entrepreneurs that come on board the Empower Network. First time they've ever been an entrepreneur. And the first thing I tell them is you have got to be patient. Well, Sam, you made $200,000 in 8 months. I did. That's true. But you may see the duck on top of the water, but you didn't see me paddling like hell the last 8 years. I mean, come on, man. There's no overnight success. But I'll tell you one thing. You want to go to a job for 40 years? Let's just compare and contrast. I don't know what you're comparing things to me. Why don't you compare yourself to most individuals that don't have the opportunity to even hear about something like Empower Network and even given the opportunity to play big? So let's just get real, okay? And understand, with patience, you don't want to dig the seeds out right when you plant them, and you want to stay in the field, like the great Jim Rohn said as well. Don't leave the field while the harvest is occurring. Some of you are chasing birds. Oh, they're talking about me, or they're doing this, they're doing that, and I got to go join this other business because I got to make money. No, you don't. You got to stay in the field. You got to stay in the field where the harvest is. You got to quit leaving the field, chasing the birds, and getting out of there, because your crops are going to grow, and you ain't going to be there. Someone else will be, right? Understand that much. The last phase of this, if you're feeling the pain, preparing, taking action, overcoming adversity, dealing with it, it's going to happen. You know that, but that's okay. Look, you get one shot going around in life. I mean, that's it. To have to say that, well, I mean, didn't work out, it's going to work out just the way it's supposed to work out, right? Don't worry about it. The last thing you got to do is you got to stay committed. You really got to stay committed. And you have to understand that when you hear a Tracy Walker on the other line and all the fabulous success of Tracy, we need to celebrate people like that. People that have had the courage and the commitment to stick-to-itiveness. And Tracy has an amazing story as well. See, every leader I've met, I've been to 3 events with Empower Network. I got involved with Empower Network in November. I went to Austin, Texas in January. I went to Chicago in April. And I just came back from Denver a couple weeks ago. And every one of the top money earners within Empower Network, whether they're making $3 million or they're making $150,000 a month or whatever the number is, are the most humble, gracious, nicest people I've ever met. Always willing to lend a hand. However, you can lean on them, but you can't whine on them, and that's what I respect most about the leadership within Empower Network, is they will be more than happy to pull back the curtain on their business and share with you how they're doing it and what they're doing, but they will not allow you to argue for your limitations, and that's why I love it. So last November, everybody going to stay committed before I move on? Everybody going to say, I'm staying committed? Just say it. I'm staying committed. Person you're in the room right now, just, hey, yo, mute the television for I got something to share with you. I'm committed. And then just tell them to go back and watch TV. Last November, I put my ego aside. And I'm not this big guru internet marketer with a list of 1 million people. Matter of fact, I got out of the affiliate marketing game 3 years ago because once I had this big launch, and once you mail for someone, kind of the dirty little secret of internet marketing, once they mail for you, guess what? You mail for them. And those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's called reciprocal mailing, where, hey, you mail for me, I mail for you, I mail for me. I thought I was in the mafia. Hey, Sam, you got that mailing coming up? You got to mail for me, I mail for you. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm never going to get out of this. I finally got out 3 years ago and said I'm never doing another affiliate mailing to my list again. You know what I did instead? I just started giving my list great content. But I didn't have a big list. It's not that I've got this huge list. I've just got a lot of loyal followers on the Internet, and I built that loyal following by being authentic, by sharing this message I'm sharing tonight. You have a message, and I've said this, it's got to be 5 times so far. You have got to share your message. I remember speaking with a lady whose husband lost her job. Sam, I got to replace the income. And I said, well, let's do it. Well, when I start blogging. Start blogging. Let's do it. Well, why is your answer always blogging, Empower Network? Yeah, right. That's what you got to do. I mean, if you're asking my advice, that's what I would do. I mean, I'm just telling you. I don't know if someone else may give you different advice. I'm just telling you what works for me. But, Sam, I don't have anything to talk about. I don't have anything to sell. I don't have any Come on now. What do you like to do? I like to cook. Great. Nobody wants to hear me cook or see me go, oh, okay. You ever heard of Martha Stewart, Rachel Ray, Bobby Flay, Emerald Lagasse? You ever heard of those individuals? I mean, ring a bell at all? Like, Sam, I'm not. Here you go again. I'm not. You keep telling me what I'm not or what you're not. And I keep having to speaking and sowing the seeds of success back into you. Will you quit ripping the seeds out when I keep sowing them back into you? I'm sowing the seeds of prosperity into everybody on this call this evening. Will you please allow those seeds to get inside you and just let them be there and nurture them and become a student of personal development and become the entrepreneur that you know you can? Can you just receive the message and let it nurture inside? Do you have to take the seeds out of the ground right away and argue why you're not? The same thing I told that lady, beautiful lady, devoted wife for 30 years. Husband was always a breadwinner, low self-esteem. She started blogging, put an ebook together with her recipes, Can you imagine the self-esteem this lady felt and the success? There's millions of people like that all around the world. You, right now, listening to this call, get going. Like my friend Mike Litton says, you don't got to get it right. You just got to get it going. Can you just do that? November 24th, 2012 was the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Like I said, big moments in time. You remember where you were. College football was on. I was down in my basement, and I pulled the trigger on the Empower Network. And I had a lot of anxiety over it because I knew, just like I got judged when I left my job, just like I got judged when I decided to be a speaker, just like I got judged when I decided to buy all of the real estate. You know, the funny story is about those real estate rentals. I ended up buying 40 units with no money down. And the buddy I went with that night didn't buy anything ever because he had to wait for all the lights to be green before he left, and that's unfortunate. Remember that story I told you about the guy being 12 times richer than me? Yeah. Well, I took that, ran with it, and bought 40 units with no money down. But this ain't a real estate call. So I just wanted to wrap a bow around that story as well. But just like I got judged when I did that. You want to be a landlord? Oh, my God. Didn't you know that people kick holes in your wall and they don't pay the rent? You got to evict them? And like, well, I don't know. They're not building any more land, and they've been, owning it since 1776, at least in this country. So I got to think somebody knew something. I'm just going to follow that lead. Again, I'm not making the news. I'm just reporting it. All right, everybody? So don't get your knickers in an uproar. I'm just going to go buy some real estate. Y'all go do what you do, whatever that is. You go to your job every day, all right? Don't mind Sam Crowley over here. I'm just buying some real estate with no money down. It's probably all a big scam, I'm sure. Real estate's a scam. That's why it's probably the single common thread woven throughout every millionaire in the world is real estate, but I'm sure it's a scam someplace. You ever heard that? Like, hey, you're in a big scam. Power Network. I joined November 24th, 2012, 2 days after Thanksgiving, the worst day in the world to ever mail a list ever on the Internet. Nobody opens emails 2 days after Thanksgiving. It's Saturday. It's the day after Black Friday. Are you kidding me? Email might as well be shut down around the world. But I flew in the face of conventional wisdom, so I'm just going to mail a little tester to my little following on the Internet because you know what? I was prepared. I felt the pain I was in. I've never shared this story. I'm going to share it tonight on the Empower Network. Towards the end of 2012, I was just like, there's got to be more. I don't want to do what I'm doing right now. I want to take a break. I want to unplug. I want to smell something different out there. I want to do something different. I want a new and exciting place to hang out. And I saw that. I saw Empower Network, and I said, I think I might hang my hat in this little place for a little bit. This looks exciting. I saw how they speak and how they talk. Careful when you're on the Internet. People are watching you. I was approached about Empower Network by many people. And most of those individuals, I would never name a name. Beautiful people. They just weren't speaking the language of success. I just didn't feel empowered. So I narrowed it down to a couple individuals, and I joined with a sponsor I thought was somebody that I could definitely align myself with. Those of you know Tony Rush. Tony's my sponsor within Empower Network. So I reached out to Tony and said, I'd like to come on board. He said, great. Sent me the link. I joined. I sent an email out, but before I sent the email out to my list, I sent a survey out. This was important. This is another reason why I thought it might be a good fit. Because I sent a survey out to my list. I'm like, hey, Sam again. Hey, just click what you'd like to hear more of. Would you like to hear about more personal development, motivation, inspiration, and I needed a fourth one because in order to fill all the survey blanks, and I need to make it look even. So I just threw in make money online. Kind of as a last resort, make money online. Click that if nobody's going to click it, but, let's just see what happens. Over 70% of the respondents came back, I want to learn how to make money online. What? But they said, I don't have a product. And I don't have a merchant account. These are true stories. This is all the responses. I still have it. I use SurveyMonkey. They send this up to my list. It's like, oh, my God. I've got the perfect thing. Empower Network. They have the products. If you want to become an affiliate, you don't have to, but if you want to, they'll pay you 100% commission on some of the products that you own. You can go all income disclosure. Just go to endisclosure.com. You'll see everything there about average earnings and everything like that. Get in touch with the person who invited you to the call if you're not in Empower Network right now. But it was perfect. I said, this is a hand-in-glove fit. Oh, it's like this is divine intervention. So I mailed my list. I said, hey, y'all want to know how to do it? Well, I've got the product. I've got the perfect sales funnel, merchant account, commissions. You don't need to do anything. You'll be up and running right away. Let's do it. Boom. 87 people. Now, let me just say, these results are not. What are they? They're not. What? Not typical. They are not typical. Not typical. Okay? You ready? 87 people went to my lead capture page from Power Network. I'm sure you've all seen it. Person who invited you to the call probably sent you a link with it. Out of those 87 people, 56 came on board my team within the month of December. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's the craziest conversion. I could never convert anything like that of my own stuff on the internet. You know what that told me? A couple things. Put my pride aside. Put my ego aside. Dave and Dave, I've shared this story with them personally. I've shared it in public. I wasn't a fan at the very beginning, and I love telling those guys that now. Now I posted on Facebook after I came back from Denver. I think David Wood gave the most amazing presentation I've ever seen, and I won't even list the speakers I've seen perform and speak on stages. David Wood brought me to tears in Denver. Tears in Denver. I was sitting in the front row on the edge of my seat like I was a kid at a Disney on Ice concert. That's how much I was listening to Dave Wood and Dave Sharp. It was amazing. And I felt that connection on the internet with those guys, with the videos they were putting together. I first judged them, and then I thought, this is like everybody used to judge me. How dare I do that? What an idiot I am. I'm going to put my ego aside, and I'm going to leverage the power of what they put together. And from that, I began sharing another story. So the story went from, broke guy wanting just to inspire people in 2005 to speaker, making every day Saturday, to speaker, partnering with Empower Network to leverage the power of their products. And now I'm getting other men and women with large egos on my team, and I'm getting them to come on board. And I want everybody that I speak to taste what I've been tasting for the past 8 months, to drink from the reservoir of success, to understand that their best days are ahead of them, to understand that they can move the comma as far to the left that they want to understand that there's so much more out there when you let your ego go. And that's why I've earned $200,000 in the past 8 months. And let me tell you something, man, we are just getting warmed up. Earnings, not typical. They are not typical. But let me tell you, all of this that I've been teaching on the call tonight about building your own brand, building your own message, and getting the message out, it is rock solid. Let me tell you, it always works, because the authenticity that comes through you and the authenticity that comes through your message, do not try to be somebody else. We are all born an original, and we die as a copy. Isn't that crazy? We're all born original, yet we die as a copy. Why? Because we all want to be somebody else. We all want to watch. That's why reality shows are so popular. You want to make $200,000 in 8 months? You be the reality show that everybody else watches for a change. How about that? How about you say tomorrow morning, I'm going to turn this back over to the great Tracy Walker in just a couple minutes. I want to leave you with this. How about tomorrow morning you wake up and you say, I am going to be the reality show. Can you just say it? Say it again. Tell the person in the room with watching TV, hey, put it on mute. Hey, let me tell you real quick. I am the reality show, right? Get your message clear on who you are. If it takes you driving around, I drive around a lot talking to myself. I'll be at red lights, people look over. I'm just having a conversation with myself, getting my story straight, empowering people, speaking. I did a podcast in a Walmart parking lot at 5 a.m. 3 weeks ago, and the cops stared at me the whole time waiting for me to steal something from Walmart. Can you imagine how crazy that is? Because we were at our summer home up in Lake Erie in Buffalo, New York, and I didn't want to wake anybody up in the house, and I had to get the message out at 5 a.m. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't sit around from 3:30 in the morning till 5. I had to get the message out. I drove to Walmart in pitch black darkness while a cop stared at me the whole time. I had a headset on. It's a Logitech headset for $39.99 at Radio Shack. Had it plugged into the USB port of my laptop, and I was screaming into my car with a cup of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, talking about the power of moving forward with your passion. See, when the business is inside of you, you're one of two things right now. You're either in business or the business is inside of you. And when the business is inside of you, that's when you start making every day Saturday. And that's my message for everybody tonight. I feel just so awesome and blessed to be on this call. I love it. I love you. I love your dream. Go after it with a vengeance first thing tomorrow. Tracy Walker, back to you.
Sam, let me just say, I am enjoying this so much. I don't want you to go. I don't want you to leave. Why do you have to leave? And, as you were closing out, you were talking about when Empower Network gets into your veins. I was on a hangout just moments before you and I jumped on this call, and I shared with Justin and Dee Varengia and some members of their organization. I said, if you were on an operating table and you were literally in critical condition, I mean, your heart was given out, and just imagine the doctors running around in a frenzy around the room and the nurses and all of the aides and people looking to get all the materials to help save your life, and an anesthesiologist walked in there and actually connected you to the tubes where Empower Network could flow through those tubes into your bloodstream and into your heart, that you could come back alive. And for you to say what you just said tonight, just for me, confirmed that, my brother, we are definitely in alignment with the vision of David Wood and David Sharp, as well as the leadership here and the company that we love so dear, and continue to share with the world an effort to help them live their dreams. So, Sam, thank you so much for your message tonight. I love and appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to make sure that you ponder on this information tonight. Take a moment to actually just, contemplate some of the things that Sam shared. If you were taking notes, review them. Here's a bright idea. Write a blog post about the message and what your takeaways were from tonight. Actually go out and do that. Share the message. Give great content to your list, as Sam said. Guys, we love you, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.